Good evening. Tonight we turn to Jerusalem, where Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has confirmed that Israeli forces carried out a high-profile strike aimed at one of Hamas's most symbolic figures, Abu Obeida, the spokesman of Hamas's military terrorist wing, the Izz al-Din al-Qassam brigades. The confirmation, delivered during a government press conference, is already reverberating through the region, raising questions about whether Israel may have succeeded in eliminating the voice of Hamas's military operations, a man whose speeches, appearances and audio messages have long been part of the psychological and propaganda warfare that defines the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Standing before the cameras in Jerusalem, Benjamin Netanyahu wasted no time in presenting the gravity of the operation. In his words, "In another joint operation, the Shin Bet and the IDF, Israeli ground forces, attacked Hamas Spokesman, the spokesman for the evil, murderous organization, Abu Obeida." Now, we still don't know the final result. I hope he's no longer with us, but I notice there's no one to answer this question from the Hamas side. So it will take hours and certainly days to determine that the statement was deliberate. Netanyahu wanted to project confidence, yet carefully avoided claiming outright success before confirmation. The phrasing underscored both the sensitivity and the uncertainty surrounding targeted strikes of this nature. For years, Abu Obeida has been the masked voice and figurehead of Hamas's military wing. Known for his distinctive red keffiyeh and refusal to reveal his identity publicly, he has delivered countless televised messages, often appearing after major attacks, during wars in Gaza, or in moments when Hamas sought to demonstrate resilience. To Israelis, Abu Obeida symbolizes Hamas's propaganda machine, a man who amplified the group's threats, justified its attacks, and served as the public relations face of an organization that Israel and much of the international community classify as a terrorist group. To Hamas supporters, however, he is seen as a steadfast representative of resistance. This dual image made him one of the most sought-after targets for Israel's intelligence services. By striking him, Israel aimed not only at eliminating a senior operative, but also at silencing one of Hamas's most potent propaganda weapons. According to Israeli officials, the operation was a joint effort between the Shin Bet, Israel's domestic security agency, and the Israel Defense Forces. The precise details of how the strike was carried out remain classified, but officials suggest it was a targeted attack, likely involving advanced intelligence gathering, signal interception, and precision weaponry. Netanyahu's statement hinted at the secrecy and delicacy involved. Now, we still don't know the final result, he cautioned. This acknowledgement reveals the difficulties Israel faces in confirming the death of figures who often operate deep within Gaza, shielded by layers of secrecy, underground bunkers, and loyal cadres. The attempted strike on Abu Obeida comes amid one of the most volatile phases in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in recent years. Since October 2023, Gaza has been the scene of escalating violence marked by Hamas rocket attacks, Israeli airstrikes, and repeated failed attempts at mediation by regional powers. Israel has intensified its campaign to dismantle Hamas's military infrastructure, striking weapons depots, tunnel networks, and senior commanders. The effort to neutralize Abu Obeida fits squarely within this broader campaign. Netanyahu, under political pressure at home, has been eager to demonstrate decisive action. His coalition, which relies heavily on right-wing and security-focused parties, views high-profile operations as proof that Israel is taking the fight directly to Hamas's leadership. Even if Abu Obeida's fate remains uncertain, the mere attempt to eliminate him carries a psychological dimension. In modern conflicts, perception is as critical as battlefield reality. For Hamas, Abu Obeida has functioned as the reassuring voice telling supporters that the group remains defiant in the face of Israeli firepower. By targeting him, Israel is signaling its ability to reach even the most elusive figures. The strike sends a message to Hamas operatives that no one is untouchable, a theme Israel has emphasized in its decades-long strategy of targeted killings. For Hamas supporters, on the other hand, if Abu Obeida survives, his reappearance could be framed as a triumph, feeding into the group's narrative of resilience. If he has indeed been killed, the organization will likely attempt to replace him quickly to avoid the appearance of weakness. The Prime Minister's words carried layers of political meaning. I hope he's no longer with us, but I notice there's no one to answer this question from the Hamas side, Netanyahu remarked, drawing attention to the silence from Gaza. This was more than just an observation. It was a rhetorical strategy designed to highlight Hamas's lack of response and suggest that the absence of communication might indicate a leadership vacuum. At the same time, it was a reminder to Israelis and the international community that Hamas thrives on messaging, and the absence of its spokesman could be a symbolic victory for Israel. Targeted strikes against high-ranking militants are not without controversy. While Israel views them as legitimate self-defense, critics argue they often escalate conflicts and risk significant civilian casualties. Past attempts on Hamas leaders have sometimes led to immediate retaliatory barrages of rockets from Gaza into Israeli cities. This strike may carry similar risks. If confirmed, Abu Obeida's death could trigger retaliatory attacks from Hamas or its affiliates, escalating the cycle of violence further. On the other hand, if the strike failed, it could embolden Hamas, allowing them to claim victory and rally support. As of now, international reactions remain muted, with regional powers waiting for confirmation of the outcome. Egypt and Qatar, key mediators in past ceasefire negotiations, are likely to monitor the situation closely. For them, the elimination of such a symbolic figure could complicate efforts to bring both sides back to the negotiating table. In Washington, US officials have historically supported Israel's right to self-defense, but often urge restraint to avoid spiraling escalation. Whether this strike will prompt another round of US shuttle diplomacy depends largely on whether Hamas retaliates and how severe the fallout becomes. Domestically, Netanyahu must balance between demonstrating strength and avoiding a war that could spiral beyond control. His statement, confident but cautious, reflects that balance by saying, "So it will take hours and certainly days to determine that." Netanyahu acknowledged the need for patience and verification. It was a signal both to the Israeli public and to allies abroad. This was a serious attempt, but Israel will not rush to declare victory prematurely. If confirmed, the killing of Abu Obeida would represent one of Israel's most significant symbolic victories in recent years. Yet the conflict in Gaza has shown time and again that the elimination of one leader often paves the way for another. Hamas has demonstrated resilience in replacing commanders, spokesmen and operatives swiftly. Still, silencing Abu Obeida, even temporarily, would be a blow to Hamas's information warfare. It could disrupt their ability to rally supporters, issue threats or spin narratives in the immediate aftermath of Israeli strikes. For Israel, the challenge lies in leveraging this moment without fueling an uncontrollable escalation. For Hamas, the task is to prove continuity, to show that one man's elimination does not dismantle their operations. In Jerusalem, the atmosphere tonight is tense but measured. Netanyahu's announcement has injected new uncertainty into an already volatile conflict. Whether Abu Obeida is alive or dead, the implications are profound. As Netanyahu put it clearly, in another joint operation, the Shin Bet and the IDF attacked Hamas spokesman, the spokesman for the evil, murderous organization, Abu Obeida. Now, we still don't know the final result. That uncertainty will shape the next hours and days. Confirmation may bring either escalation or a temporary quiet. But one thing is certain, this strike and the figure at its center underscores the enduring cycle of action and response that defines the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. We don't know the final outcome yet. I hope he, Abu Obeda, spokesman for Hamas's military wing, is no longer with us, but I notice that there is no one to address this issue from Hamas, the Israeli Prime Minister said after an Israeli strike targeting Abu Obeida, spokesman for Hamas's military wing, the Izz al-Din al-Qassam brigades.
אז שעות וימים בוודאי יגידו את מה שהם יגידו.